Right, we are live, and Fulham have actually won a game of football. What a performance! An accomplished performance from start to finish. I thought we were aggressive, progressive. Looked to find space. People running into space. When was the last time we saw that? Players actually running into space, running behind men. But yeah, we are Fulhamish. This is Full-Time Live. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined us. I'm joined by Isabelle Barker. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm ecstatic. In fact, yeah, I was not to be in such a good mood at this time on a Monday evening. I've had a bit of a sort of long day at work, and then thinking, oh, I've got to watch this get tonked by West Brom, and then what a happy surprise. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Isabelle. And also I'm joined by my little brother Freddie on his full-time Fulhamish debut. How you doing, son?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Absolutely buzzing with that win. More to come, hopefully. Come on. I'm so happy.
We'll see. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with Freddie, he's been knocking about in the under-16s Fulhamish, and he's got his promotion to the first team squad today. So, how's it feel?
Absolutely great. Hopefully, I can secure that spot even longer. I like the 16s, but I think I've grown out of it. So
yeah.
Let's proceed to the first team.
Let's hope you can be Fulhamish's Ryan Sessegnon, hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But I mean, yeah, it was a bit of a frantic start to the game. I thought the first 20 minutes had a bit of a feel of a bit of a FIFA game. There was this sort of nervous, dynamic energy from both the sides, and yeah, I mean, how are your nerves going into this match, Isabelle?
Oh, I was so pessimistic. I feel like I'd already sort of written it off, and when it started off for me, it was kind of like that same old Fulham. We had all this amazing build-up play. We were playing like Barcelona with the possession, but we were missing that kind of crucial touch. And West Brom obviously hit the woodwork, and we were getting those nice crosses in, but we were still not giving players like Mitrovic, even Lookman, the service. So I thought it's just, history repeating itself. But and I think with a game like this, it was the first goal kind of made it with the two teams that it was. So yeah, when the tables turned, I think I was a bit shook, but so ecstatic.
Fantastic stuff. I think you hit the nail on the head there with the first goal being so crucial in a match like this. Both teams very nervous, very conscious, do not want to lose this game. We didn't have to wait too long for the deadline to be broken, thankfully. Some beautiful little link-up play from Zambo, released Robinson, who I thought was absolutely exceptional today. So a lovely ball into Mitrovic, who then laid it off to Bobby Decordova-Reid, who leapt like a salmon and put it in the back of the net. Fred, it was a beautifully team-worked goal from Fulham. When was the last time we saw one of them, eh?
Very long time. I thought Anguissa was absolutely pivotal in that move. Grabbed the ball from the halfway line, if I believe, flicked it over one of the West Brom players and proceeded it to Robinson. Today he was absolutely fantastic. Putting a really good cross, and I thought before that, I thought we were pretty poor. I thought the final ball we were lacking that, but he righted that wrong. And Mitro, he's been off form for a few games, missed a big chance at Palace, and had a obviously poor game at Sheffield United. But he put that right over to Bobby Reid, and Bobby Reid couldn't miss that, and it was 1-0.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, we are. This is Fulhamish Live. If you haven't joined us before, Full-Time Live, I should say, haven't joined us before, drop a comment or a question in the box beside, and we'll look to answer it a bit later on. But yeah, I want to talk about Anthony Robinson today. I thought he was like a man possessed. He just did not stop running, and he had shades of Ryan Fredericks for me. I thought it was the first time that since Fredericks we've seen just that dynamism down the side. What did you think of his performances, Isabelle?
Yeah, it was reminiscent of the old Ryan Fredericks, which is so nice to see because, like you said, that is the kind of key piece of the jigsaw that we have been missing since he left, I think. And yeah, he just had this electric pace. And as I was saying, with kind of that the delivery, how it was a bit off, kind of missing that crucial touch at first. I think he really worked into that. And for me, this game was made by our midfield. I mean, the new centre-back pairing we'll go on to, I'm sure, but just the midfielders, we just never let them get on the ball. And it was because of players like Robinson, who were just snaffling up all the West Brom defenders, attackers, and going forward. It was just textbook, and it was lovely to see.
It was. And I thought an all-round incredibly accomplished defensive performance from Fulham. We had back when we saw Tosin, Anderson come in, and Aina, who obviously got an absolute stonker of a goal. Freddie, how did you think we did overall as a defensive unit? Do you agree with the fact that it was by far our most accomplished defensive performance so far this year?
By a long way. And also, can we just mention the miraculous recovery that Anderson had? We were looking, a couple of weeks ago, we were looking at him thinking he would be out for me. I thought he was 3 or 4 months with a really bad injury. And suddenly he's just come back in on the 2nd November, played really, really well, I thought. And Tosin, who's been playing really well in the defence, had a great game as well. And Robinson was obviously, to be honest, Cairney played really well, but I think Robinson is my man of the match. Did not stop running up and down, great defensive presence. And forward, he can put in a really good cross. And it's just so good to see. And as you said, it's a kind of flashback to Ryan Fredericks, but on left back than other than right back.
Yeah, no, of course. And yeah, Isabelle, you mentioned that our midfield performance was again. So I mean, it was a great all round. I can't think of a single player on our team who didn't have a blinding game. And I think perhaps Tom Cairney must have heard your battle cry from the last time that
I know.
And he pitched in with a real captain's performance today. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I thought Cairney was brilliant, and I thought him being able to pull the strings higher up the pitch made the world of difference for us. I think the goal last week, the late goal, must have given him a bit of a skip in his step because he was doing all these little step overs and things like that, like playing like Barcelona. And I was scratching my head at first, but obviously it paid off, and I think there was no disputing that he's not a stalwart player for Fulham, but I think with Lamina a bit deeper and Cairney being able to play forward, it allowed him to pull the strings, and his position is so important. He has this responsibility that he's got to deliver, which I think he knew that this time there was this kind of pressure on his shoulders a little bit, and he just had this extra yard of pace and physicality, and he was drawing a lot of fouls, which showed he was committing to the tackle. He was tracking back and putting his body on the line. He did really well getting down on the right-hand side to set up Anguissa for what I think could have been like another screamer. He didn't score, but keeper saved it. But yeah, Cairney was doing his jobs, which was pulling the strings, and I'm really pleased that he's got that skip in his step and confidence, and it shows that, yeah, he does have the confidence and ability to do it in the Premier League.
Absolutely, and I think he had one eye on that team of the week, such as he did last. So he's thinking, right, I've got to maintain my place in that starting up. But it was staying on the midfield. I thought Lamina had a fantastic game, and him playing that deep role and taking that pressure that Cairney has been played in the past, and he hasn't maybe had the physicality or the aggression. I think that Lamina in that position, he was able to be the first man, and then he found himself in space all of a sudden, which then allowed TC to be creative and find those pockets of pace. So yeah, right, we can't go much further without talking about Aina's goal.
Oh,
what a rocket!
Do you think it's the highlight of the year so far? Do you think?
Yeah, definitely a highlight.
Well, if we're including the Joe Bryan masterclass at Wembley, then I don't think it is. But for this season, far, what a rocket! And as soon as I was watching it with my dad, as soon as it fell off his foot, Dad was like, "It's in," and I went absolutely crazy. Put us 2-0 up, putting us in a comfortable position for the game. And what more can I say? What a finish. Goal of the season, surely, so far in the whole Premier League. Let's hope that he can hang on to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of those, Dad phoned me at half time. He was just like, as soon as that went off his boot, I knew that was going in the top bit.
Yeah.
You'll never see a sweeter struck spot. And does it give, if we get Tete back from injury, does it give Scott Parker a bit of a selection headache, do you think, Isabelle, after his performance today?
Yeah, for sure. I think Scott, like with some of his choices, I've been scratching my head a bit. But just today, hats off to Parker. Like he got it completely right. And yeah, when Tete comes back, I think he's going to have to fight for his pace back in the side. But no, credit to Scott Parker. I think there's been so many looming questions about whether he has experience and the knowledge of the players, his selection, his formation. And I think he got it spot on.
Good stuff. It looks like we've got a disgruntled West Bromwich Albion fan in the comments section saying, "You relegated. Let's have our moment, Desi."
No, we're having our moment because so many times I've been on the radio with bloody West Brom fans who are so condescending of Fulham. So bask in the glory, Fulham fans.
You're like, we're the original yo-yo club. Don't know why you guys are. Let's have our moment. So yeah, Fred, what do you think's changed? I mean, we look like a new team today. You know, we were finding space. We had the overlap, which we haven't seen since the days of Slavica Jokanovic. Do you think there was a bit of a tactical change from Scott Parker, or do you think the boys were just up for it tonight?
To be honest, George, I think Scott's main pro to his managerial is motivation, and tonight was such a big game for the boys. I think he just got them so hyped up, and every single player on the pitch was so energetic. I think Lookman and Robinson on that left flank look so dangerous. They're dovetailing really good together, and they're down along that left channel. I think Scott has had a lot of criticism, seeing if he's good enough for the Premier League. And tonight, I think he kind of silenced some critics. Obviously, the critics are going to still be about. But we've got our first win on the board in the Premier League. We can't ask for much more. Clean sheet as well. Areola will be buzzing with that. Things are looking up for us, hopefully.
Absolutely. I mean, we can't get too carried away. There's only one win after all, but it's definitely a sort of platform and hopefully a confidence boost that will see us into the game against West Ham, which is tricky. You know, they had a fantastic performance. They ultimately came up a bit short against Liverpool the other day, but you know, they're a very solid, well-organised team, so it'll be a tough game there. I want to come on to Anguissa. I mean, in the Fulhamish WhatsApp group, there was a lot of praise going around for Anguissa, as there always is, and I thought he had a fantastic second half performance. First half, I felt like there was still some element, like he lost the ball.
Oh, critiques from George. I do
think he was the only negative in the first half. If we had like nitpicking, he was the only slight negative. But sorry, carry on.
Yeah, that as I said, nitpicking, that's the only negative. Yeah. However, I thought overall a fantastic performance. What overall effect do you think he had on our game, Isabelle?
Yeah, I think he, like before I make this point, he was brilliant in the second half. But the first half, he just sort of kind of gave the ball away a little bit clumsily a couple of times. And that's when West Brom just hit us on the break. You know, it was rare, but that's when they did. But and I think he gave the ball away, and then Grant kind of scooped it up. I can't remember if it was in the first half now. It's all a bit of a blur. And thank God he kind of flashed it wide. But he grew into it, and he's just so physically imposing that we need a player like that in our side. And as I was saying, I think our midfield just didn't allow them to get on the ball. They just didn't, and that was key to us today, doing so well.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought they were exceptional. And Anguissa, he's such a physical, skillful box-to-box midfielder, which what more do you need? I think he is very much a kind of a key part of that midfield, and he is infinitely, and Fulham are an infinitely better side when he is playing, and he's so important. But with obviously we've got Harrison Reed, we've got Lamina, Anguissa, Cairney, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I mean, so we've got a question here from Krimazira. Are there any changes you make to the starting 11? I'm assuming he means against West Ham our next game, or do you think that is our strongest side? Fred, what do you reckon, given the performance today?
First of all, mate, great profile picture from the pitch invasion against Derby, and also Lamina. I thought the only reason why he should be coming off in the second half, that's got to be a knock or an injury. To be honest, I don't know why I took him off. It's got to be that case. So with that bearing in mind, I think he's going to have to put Harrison Reed instead. I just think when Loftus-Cheek is a quality footballer, we all know this. But I think with Loftus-Cheek on the pitch with Cairney does not get into that number 10. I think Cairney more drops into that number 8. And we saw him last season in the Championship doing more defensive work. And for my liking, I love to see Cairney get up the field, score goals, assist, see him play like tonight. So I probably would play Harrison Reed, because I just think Harrison Reed in front of the back four is so good, sweeps up everything. So I'd say Harrison Reed, Anguissa obviously for the box-to-box presence, and Cairney as the attacking midfielder.
Very good. Isabelle, what do you reckon?
I would keep it the same. I think the difference with us today is that so many games we do go ahead, and then that final 20 minutes or so is just horrible to watch. It's like every Fulham fan is having a heart attack. But then when we introduced the subs like Harrison Reed, we just were consistently pressing them, and they weren't getting on the ball. And I think maybe it's good to have those people that can come on and make that impact, make that change, like Kamara used to do for us. If Harrison Reed isn't fully fit to do a whole 90 minutes, then if he's coming on and really making a difference in that short space of time, then that will give us the consistency in our games going forward.
Yeah, those extra legs in those moments where we could do a bit of the cavalry coming on and some reinforcements in the midfield. So let's go from a question from Colin McComish. I think Anderson gave you one extra confidence this week. I thought he had a very calm, confident and assured performance in the middle, and I think that him and Tosin are the way forward now. Fred, what's your opinion on our new centre-back pairing?
Yeah, I think Anderson looked really composed in that, and I think it is kind of, if Anderson obviously stays fit, touch wood, let's hope that he does, I think it is the end of the road for Ream in this Premier League season. I just think Anderson looked so solid, and Adebayo with him, they've only played one game together and they look like they've played 30 games together. They look so good with each other. So I'd probably stick with that centre-back partnership for West Ham away on Saturday night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think Anderson's great. What a loan signing that is so far. They paid the big bucks for him. Leon did, and he's played in the Champions League. And like, obviously, if you play in the Champions League, then you're obviously a good footballer. So let's hope he stays fit for us, because he did play really well tonight.
Yeah. Oh, so technical issues. Yeah. So it was without doubt the performance of the season so far. And as I said, ladies and gents, if you've got any questions, if you want to fire them at us, we are live. This will be going on all of our channels a bit later on. So we've got a nice message from Richard. Well done to Fulham. Keep on. Thanks very much for getting in touch. Zambo, TC and Robinson were outstanding. I think the points we've touched upon, we all agree on that, Rory. So see what else we got. Richard, Fulham have won a game. That was the only soundbite. And I know how we normally name the pod with 3-word reviews. I think this would be, it's not 3 words, but if we had to name this live stream, it'd be Fulham won a game. And I remember at the start of the season, after the first 3 games, Paddy Power were doing an offer. I can't think it was there, but they were doing an offer. It was like 50-1 Fulham to concede in every single game this year. And at the time, I thought, it was just free money, really. You might as well do it. And I did it. I held off because you can't back you bet against your side. But no. The clean sheet was arguably as satisfying as the goals that we scored. And it's the same thing again, isn't it? Fulham, when we concede first, we look just a completely different team. And unfortunately, we hadn't had the chance to do that this year. But I mean, hopefully we can sort of discover a bit of form and maybe work out how to come from behind, because I think that's going to be arguably a more useful skill to have this year. But we'll see how it goes. So Evie Pottage TC was amazing today, and more praise for our captain. Where has that TC been? Brilliant display. I think it was mainly the physicality they showed. I know you touched upon it earlier, Latifa, and it was just that sort of desire. Do you think
that that's... just call me Latifa?
Sorry. That's your middle name, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll take it though. It's much smaller than my first name, honestly.
It's because your Twitter name is Isabelle Latifa Barker. I don't know why.
It makes me seem cool. It's fine. Carry on calling that if you want.
It was that aggression and that desire to win. Do you think it's just because he's now being played in his preferred position that has got that out of him?
Yeah, I think kind of from my earlier point, obviously Lamina was deeper, and then Cairney was able to go forward. And as I was saying, he was able to dictate the game with those passes and really pulling the strings. He just looks like he's really enjoying his football. I mean, in that game, and I know we all criticised him for that kind of over posting of his goal and things like that. But obviously he's got this confidence now, which is a really good thing. And I'm only pleased for him. And I think he wants to do it in the Premier League. This is the biggest moment in his career, like playing Premier League football. So it's only giving him confidence, and he was oozing that confidence and able to kind of just break free a bit more. And while Lamina was a bit deeper, and it allowed him to pull the strings.
Certainly. So I think, I mean, although we did have a man for man, I thought our performance was exceptional. I don't think West Brom offered an awful lot. You know, and you talk about the concept of a 6-pointer within a relegation battle. I think this is the very epitome of one of them. Fred, do you think West Brom have any hope of staying up after seeing what they had to do today?
Well, with this bloke in the live stream, I might have to keep my words pretty limited here. But to be honest, I don't think they were very good. They had one massive chance, which obviously was due to Anguissa losing the ball, and Grant, he should be scoring that. If he scores that just before half time, it's a different game. It's 2-1 just before the half. But overall, I thought Areola had a very quiet game. He only really had to catch a few crosses, and that only really reflects on how good the back four was today. So I don't think West Brom really offered something. I think they're obviously going to be down there with us in the relegation fight. And today, I think we looked the better team. If you had to put money on who was going to stay up.
It was interesting to see that they literally took off their star man, who at the start of the game the pundits were calling the assist king, you know, Pereira, and then Livermore, their captain, taking him off. They were clearly rattled, and then you know, all those players were lunging at us and picking up cards. It just seemed like they were kind of trying to throw every man and his dog on to make a difference, and they really couldn't break us down.
That just shows about how good Cairney was, to be honest. I think Sawyers came on, and also Livermore and Gallagher and Gravinovic. They were so frustrated with Cairney's fantastic play today. I think 2 out of the 4 got booked. So that just really shows that they were really frustrated. And I thought Pereira didn't have a look in at all. I thought Dean Garner as well. I said to Dad, their 2 biggest men are best players are Dean Garner and Pereira. And Pereira, I can't really remember what one chance he really had. And Dean Garner, Robinson kept him very quiet.
Absolutely. And it just seemed like they were trying to just break the play up. There's a lot of professional fouls going on. Obviously, a lot of people got booked. There's a lot of a weird sort of tetchiness as well. Did you see the little wrestling match between Bobby Decadefferid and the West Brom keeper?
Yeah.
I couldn't work out what was going on there.
Johnson, yeah.
But, yeah, I want to talk about a moment of magic from Tom Cairney on the 80th minute, where the ball came to Lookman, the West Brom, I can't remember what the keeper's name is. He came out, and Cairney with an audacious left-footed chip from about sort of 40 yards out, which was then somehow kept from going off, going in by the West Brom defenders. And then Bobby Decadefferid on the 6-yard box. Surely he's got a score there. What do you think, Isabelle?
Yeah, to be fair, in that moment, I think their defenders did really well. Obviously, VAR had a look at it, but yeah, I think their defence just did really well. And it was all down to Cairney, really. And obviously, Lookman's twinkle toes again, nipping in and out. You know, a lot of players would have just been snaffled up, but, you know, he did the right thing. And then Cairney, that ball, he just lofted the perfectly weighted chip, and he completely does the right thing. And then I think they just defended really well. But yeah, it was so nice to again see us keeping that foot on the pedal right until the end. It wasn't like they were really biting back at us, and it was this horrible heart attack moment for the fans. It was so nice to just see us remain dominant and throughout the whole of the game. Yeah,
it's a very, very valid point. And for the previous 3 or 4 games, we've said that Lookman has been the only player that's had that real, you know, front foot aggression, willing to take a man on. But it seemed like our entire front line were doing that today, Freddie.
Yeah, Lookman has been, well, since he played against Brentford, and obviously Sheffield United got that wonder goal. But today, I think everyone kind of matched his energy levels. And he obviously he's got the twinkle toes, as Isabelle said. And for the Cairney shot, when he shot, it just showed how much he was having such a good game. Because normally, if he's not very confident, he'd kind of play it back. But with the Lookman thing, I just thought the keeper Johnson came out, and Lookman kind of stopped and hesitated. I thought Lookman could have maybe nipped it past Johnson, but I'm being really critical. He had an absolutely brilliant game, as he always does for us. But yeah, Lookman's looking really bright. Mitro obviously has he's had a very much improved game on the back of the last 2 games. And Decadefferid, he's got to be scoring that. People say it's handball, but it's literally 4 or 5 yards out. He's just got to smash it anywhere where the 2 defenders aren't on the line, and it's a goal. But in the end, ultimately we won the game. So
just from what you're saying, I think, like you were saying, Mitro just had such a better game, and I think we were kind of using Mitro in like a different way, in the sense that like we were using him as this kind of knockoff to play the ball off him, sort of like this ball and knock off him, which was a really good way to incorporate him in, because so many of our fans are so worried that he's this like talisman that just we rely on him too much for goals. But we were using him in a different way, and he got both assists, right? Yeah, both.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that made a world of difference as well, just using Mitrovic in a different way and being able to incorporate him in our setup in a different way.
It was almost a performance reminiscent of the Bobby Zamora days, in which he was holding up and acting as a link-up player rather than just someone who's going to get on the end of crosses and knock it in. It was, I mean, I think Bobby Mitrovic is the best player. Actually, that's a debate. Actually, who do you think's better, Mitrovic or Bobby? We'll come on to that at a different point. But I've got a quick question here from what appears to be the official club account, but. In typical Fulham fan, like not knowing what the hell's going on about injuries. Does anyone know why Lamine came off? I think we can only assume it was a knock, but have you got any Sun sources, Isabelle, as to what happened?
No, I don't. No, I don't actually. I presume it was because he must have picked up a bit of a knock, maybe fitness. But obviously, he made way for Harrison Reed, who is probably a player that Scott wants to incorporate in the setup somehow on the day. So it was probably just about maybe getting Harrison Reed in it and what he can do, and maybe it was just to get Lemina off, because maybe he was just maybe not quite fully fit anymore. His legs were running out a bit of gas, and that's what I can presume. But no Sun sources on that one.
No, never mind. But yeah, so ladies and gents, there's going to be a podcast recording tonight, so hopefully that will go out this evening. But I mean, thank you. I think we've pretty much covered this Fulham with our first win this Premier League campaign, and praise to the Lord that it's not our only one, but a performance which hopefully will fill the team with confidence and more from where that came from. I think, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, I've been joined by Isabelle Barker. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
And Freddie Cooper with his Fulham-ish full-time debut.
Thank you very much.
Well done, mate. An assured, confident performance. I'm sure the first of many, but yeah, thanks to everyone who joined us for this live stream. If you want to rewatch it for whatever reason, it'll be on YouTube, Facebook, and our Twitch, I think. So yeah, come on, you Whites. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Take care. Cheers. Thanks, guys.